All right, welcome back, Wayward Souls, at the Double Tap In, episode 55. And today,
the double nickel.
And we have the double tap of the double tap.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, she said if I wanted to continue with this podcast nonsense, that she had to be on the show. And I said, "Oh, well, I guess we can make that happen." So she was feeling left out.
Did you tell her that, like, I got to check with the producers and the staff and
our sponsors,
yeah,
and your 14 listeners.
14. She's generous. I love it already.
I know it's going to go good, isn't it? So in previous episodes, we have discussed stuff that Jennifer does: the jams, the jellies, the canning, all that. Well, it all goes back to a very specific class that Jennifer does, and we've mentioned it before, called Becoming an Outdoor Woman. And instead of me sitting here and trying to butcher what this program really is, it's best to have someone who's come and done the program multiple times and wants to continue to do it, to kind of explain what becoming an outdoor woman is. So I guess we'll open up with, what is becoming an outdoor woman?
So becoming an outdoor woman is a class designed to help women with hunting skills, fishing skills, and any kind of outdoor skills that they want to learn and don't have access to equipment. And so that once you learn, do the activities when you go home, like you have the confidence to go ahead and pursue what you learned in class at home, which of course makes for very fun Christmas gifts, because I always get Christmas gifts after becoming an outdoor woman.
Yeah.
Where did it originate?
Oh,
who originated it?
Yes.
I guess is a good.
So back in 1991, the University of Wisconsin discovered that women and men learn differently, and that it went.
As shocking as that is, right?
No way.
No, not at all, right? And that they did a workshop with 100 women and designed for small classes to do like archery, shotgun, muzzleloader, fishing, kayaking, outdoor cooking, outdoor survival skills, in small group settings. And they set it up so that it's over a 3-day weekend. And there's, I guess it's like a 3-hour class segments, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and a Sunday morning. And now it has spread to, I think there's 40 states that do it. It's under the Department of Natural Resources, but some states have it under their wildlife and fishery. So it can be one of the two setups from Department of Natural Resources or Wildlife and Fisheries.
So how did you learn about becoming an outdoor woman?
So I was newly married to my beloved, lovely other half.
Lovely. Almost, that's going to be, hang on a second. Keep going.
So I knew he was hunting, but I'm not from the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so hunting and all this was very new to me. I knew he went into the woods, but I didn't really know what he did in there. So he's reading through his rule book on the hunting rules and regulations of the Maryland book that he gets. At the very end, he said, "Oh, this sounds like a really fun thing for women." And I was like, "Okay." And I just kind of blew it off. And then he's another couple times, he's reading through it and he's like, "This really sounds like fun. Wouldn't you want to do it?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Yep.
So I finally signed up for it and I fell in love. I never went to Girl Scout camp or overnight camp. And it's literally, as a lot of my friends say, it's Girl Scout camp for adult girls.
With wine.
Oh, that's awesome.
With wine.
But even better.
Just to give you an idea of how non-woodsy Jennifer is or was, we were in the Outer Banks, and was it our first trip we did in the Outer Banks?
Yes.
We ended up walking down a path, and there was a frog in the road or in the path, and Jennifer, what's that? I said, well, that's a frog. She says, I've never seen a frog outside of a box before. And I said, oh, okay. So we come home literally the following week, and we're driving up Old Worcester Highway, and a flock of turkeys were crossing a friend's driveway. So I stopped and backed up. I said, well, if you haven't seen a frog, I guess you've never seen one of those, and pointed to a flock of turkeys crossing the driveway. So just to give you an idea of how far this young lady has come in her outdoor stuff. It's pretty phenomenal. Your first becoming an outdoor woman adventure was where?
It was in 2009, and was Maryland, becoming an outdoor woman, Maryland, and it's held in Garrett County, and they use the 4-H center there. So they has cabins. It has a facility where you go, like a shower, bathhouse, like camping, and then like a main cabin, and it's designed to hold 100 women.
And is it like first come, first serve? Like, is there a waiting list?
So initially in 2009, you had to submit a paper request and then do choices, like your first, second, and third choice. Now everything is online, so you know instantly.
And you know, if you, let's just say you want to do North Carolina, which she's done, you know when they're going to have sign up. And she marks it in her calendar, sets her alarm for 8 a.m. or whatever it is. She's got her laptop fired up. She's ready to roll. When that 8 o'clock mark hits, she can go to whichever one she wants to do and start signing up for the different.
So is there, like, do they list multiple weekends and multiple like topics, or is it like?
So the Becoming an Outdoor Woman is nicknamed Bow Weekend, and it's a 3-day weekend. And then they have another set of weekends called Beyond Bow, and they're usually like a 1-day skill event. So Maryland will have like goose clinic, white-tailed deer clinic, Maryland crab, different things. New Hampshire had snowshoeing and tracking.
By the way, your last day in New Hampshire when you did that class, what was the temperature outside?
So the class temperature was 17 degrees. And this was in February. However, that morning when I woke up, it was -2 degrees. It was cold up there.
Yeah. You guys are in cabins, right?
Well,
this particular one, she was in a bougie cabin.
I was a friend let me stay in her house.
Okay. All right. But like, so most of them, they find places where you're in a cabin, like you're not necessarily tent camping.
No,
I guess some of them you could. Yeah.
You could, because that's one of the skills in the class is set up tent camping. And some people do that. But they're in areas like North Carolina had like a huge cabin. So there must have been like 40 women sleeping in one section, and it had the shower and bath in there. And like they had like 3 different cabins, but they were huge. The one in Maryland were like individual cabins with, there's probably 8 of us in there. The one in New Hampshire had water and a bathroom, but not a shower in the cabin. And there was 4 of us in there.
How were your Maryland accommodations?
So I had no idea what to expect.
She's never done anything like this.
So luckily Michael packed like sleeping bag and like all these things. And I was prepared because it was in October, and I was prepared to be cold.
And it was Garrett County.
And we were taught, in all of them, they say bring rain gear, because if it's raining, you're still going to do stuff outside because that's what you're learning. So I had rain gear. I didn't really understand, like, when you like went and set up your cabin, like, you know, set up your bedding. So luckily the other girls in the cabin helped me set everything up. So they nicknamed me the Princess and the Pea, because I had really no idea, but I've never done it before. So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So the first time, Jennifer's done this 7 times.
Yes.
Okay.
In 3 states?
3 states.
3 states, 7 different events. Your first one in Garrett County, what topics did you cover?
Did I learn? I did outdoor skills, which was fun because you learned how to do your own fire. You learned how to like pick little sticks and then bigger sticks, so that if you were in an area that was a little bit wet or damp, you could still start a fire. And actually it was raining that day. So the fact that we were all successful in building our fire. So the classes are designed to be hands-on. So we're learning, and the instructors are Department of Natural Resource officers in Maryland. So they're
cool.
actually teaching us the classes, and, you know, they're walking through and showing us what kinds of sticks. And then we go in the woods and we're collecting our sticks and we're starting our fires. And then, oh yeah, that's a picture. I put a book together.
Nice.
You see some of the pictures of
the
them doing the
instructor.
firewood, getting the fire going.
Yeah. That's
doing
cool.
all that.
Yep. And then
That's
so my
cool.
fire worked. And like I said, it was cold and it was rainy. And then we learned to build a lean-to. So in Maryland, we were taught that realistically, we're not going to be separated from our family or campground for longer than 24 hours, but the other kinds of areas you could be gone for longer. So New Hampshire, they're more focused on making sure you have 10 items in your backpack, where we learned that in Maryland, but they were saying that we just need to be warm because realistically we'll be found quicker. And that was our lean-to. And then it really did keep us warm. Like, we really did learn the skill, and you had to climb in there, and it really kept us warm and dry. So that's how we knew we did it correctly.
So what else did survival
skills? I did, I think it was a foraging class where we learned like the different outdoor edible kinds of plants. I remember plantain. Plant ID. I remember learning like plantain. Plantain is one you can eat. The other one I did was really fun was archery. I loved archery. Oh, this one I might have done rifle. I did rifle in the afternoon, and that was really fun. We learned on a Mossberg. What was it called? A Mossberg?
Yep, there you go. You see the different things that they do with the shooting the rifles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that was the rifle class. And again, you got to learn, practice shooting and shooting at targets. And then the last one was archery, and I love archery. So that's when I learned that I loved bow. And then we practiced tree climbing. So we got to do the tree climbing stand, and I'm like, oh my God, I see why Michael loves this. So I come home, and in the backyard, he sets up the tree stand at Ocean Pine's house, and I start practicing climbing.
Yep, you see the archery stuff going on.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It is so much fun. The next year I went, and they have all kinds of classes. Like another class in Maryland was, bikes. So if you needed to learn how to change your tire, if your chain popped off, like there's a lot of things that they learned. Like a lot of my other cabin mates, I took pictures of what they were doing, and taught fly fishing. So the second year in Maryland, we learned pressure canning. And that, I think, of all of my skills, I use absolutely the most.
Well, we're getting ready to use it in the next day.
Oh, yeah, for our corn.
Our corn. We just got a bushel of corn from Thompson's Produce.
Okay.
In fact, I shucked it yesterday, and today I'll cut it off the cob and
we'll pressure can it.
And
oh, wow.
The one bushel lasts us all year. So just in the savings of that, it's well worth and it's not real expensive to do this because it's underwritten by the state of Maryland or whatever state it comes from.
The weekend classes, they want to keep it around $300.
Oh, wow.
So that people can attend them and that's cost effective for everybody. There is fundraising in different states because not all of the Department of Natural Resources funds it. So there's like another section that has to have like a fundraiser component to it. But their goal is to find areas, and that's why they use the 4-H centers, because they can keep it cost effective.
Yeah.
For people to learn these skills. And like I said, the canning one, the pressure canning, we can have the corn with just water and corn under pressure. You don't have to worry about salt, vinegar, sugar, all of the additives. You can just do it.
Yeah.
And to me, we used it's funny. Billy dropped off the bushel of corn the same day I used our last jar from last year. So the irony in that was pretty good, but it tastes just as fresh the day I open it as it did the day we put it in.
Yeah,
and it's a fantastic method, and again, well worth the effort to do it.
And that's where I learned pressure canning the deer meat, the venison.
Yeah,
because one of the instructors in the class, she was like, for all of you that have hunting in your families, do one deer worth. And when I came home, Michael's like, I'm not really sure. And I'm like, we have to try it. They swore by it. Yeah. And I know you guys did an episode about the canned venison, and it's a game changer.
Yeah. Used it the other night. Did I call it, it's like venison stroganoff.
Yeah.
With the noodles.
Yeah, with the egg noodles and the cream. I use cream of chicken soup and sour cream, and you don't get any more simple than that.
No. Yeah.
So when Jennifer is explaining what she does, becoming an outdoor woman, people think it's just hunting and fishing. And that hunting and fishing is actually a very, very small portion of what they do. There's hiking, there's canoeing, I guess depending on where you go, they have classes for backing a trailer. That sort of thing. Then a lot of people that we see on the weekends need that class. That's for sure.
A lot of women love that class because, again, they said, that under pressure with their husbands can be a different learning experience than in an environment with other women that aren't familiar with it. And they said that was huge because then they learned the tools, they learned how to change a flat tire on the trailer. Like you learn all these skills to be effective for yourself. And it's just fun. You meet amazing women. Like I meet amazing women every time.
And you stay in contact with some of them.
We become friends. So the ones in New Hampshire are also from Maryland originally. They just now live in New Hampshire. So that was pretty exciting. I finally convinced one of my friends, my friend Terry Street, to go with me to the New Hampshire one. And she's like, I should have gone with you years ago. You keep talking about it. I can't believe I never did this. It's so much fun. So
if you your New Hampshire friends, have you guys hey, we're going to this one, and you guys try to go to the same ones now, or is it just we go and meet new people on different ones?
So we have said that we want to go to the original one in Wisconsin, just because I feel like that's what we want to do. There's a couple other ones, a Colorado one that has making salves with the medicinal herbs that you find in the area.
Mhm.
Georgia has ropes and like climbing and
Georgia has a Glock.
oh, Georgia has a Glock class. But with the
That'd be
actual gunsmithing.
With
Glock.
Yeah.
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 So they're just different kinds. Some states have different themes only because they have different activities.
Right.
There's ice fishing for Beyond Bow in Maine in February. So I want to do ice fishing and snowmobiling. So that's kind of like what's coming up. But I love the snowshoeing and tracking. Like it was really fun to learn the tracking.
Bird watching. There was a bear class.
I did bird watching, and there's kind of like a hierarchy of like the cool classes. So like a lot of the gunning classes are the cool classes, the archery, the fishing.
Fishing with worms.
Fishing with worms is like the coolest class. The cool thing is everybody admitted that we all have our own automatic baiters and automatic casters. So we all wanted to actually be proficient for ourselves. And like, I don't know, they just ripped the worm in half and I didn't expect it to be wiggly still. So then it couldn't go on the hook and we're all like, what do we do? And the instructor was like, just put it on there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there an age limit? Like, is there what's the youngest that can go?
18 years old. And however,
still alive is the maximum age.
I'm pretty sure the last one, New Hampshire, the woman we sat at our lunch table, I'm pretty sure she was probably 80. Like she was precious. She was just precious.
So she does North Carolina bow. And North Carolina bow, she built a fishing rod.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes now I'm getting into a theme. So North Carolina was fishing rod. So we got to do our own fishing rod, make our fishing rod with the pole and put on the eyes and do all of that. And then we went fishing with my fishing rod and I caught a fish from the lure.
That was a nice fish too.
So if you look at my Instagram from, I don't know, the 17th, 18th, whatever the date, October, you'll see a post from Jennifer of her holding her fish and her fishing rod. Now, the fishing rod that she made in North Carolina at North Carolina Bow, brought it home, and she goes to New Hampshire. And this starts last year. She takes fly fishing classes in New Hampshire. She learns how to make her own flies. She learns how to fly fish. She actually fly fishes, does all that. So she was saying before about the classes being popular. Well, fishing with worms was really popular last year. So she took that this year, learned how to make
fishing lures,
fishing rigs with using worms, be it a Texas rig or whatever they are, weedless, all the different varieties. She learns that in New Hampshire where they're actually making lures. So she makes a bass lure. They give her a couple different varieties, that sort of thing. So we go to our favorite spot, new spot, Sunday, and decide to go fish. And let her test her skills. And she caught the bass that I posted, or she posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it is, I'm very proud of her.
Absolutely.
She has learned so much and come so far. Here's a woman who hadn't seen a frog outside of a box. She's caught fish. She's killed geese. She's shot deer. She's
archery.
Her first deer was a bow kill.
Oh wow!
So there are men who have hunted for decades and have never killed with archery equipment.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, I'm proud of her. She's really taken to the outdoors really well. she's becoming an ambassador for this bow program. She wants to be the woman with the most classes in the most states.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's her goal, and I think we can get her there. I
Absolutely.
really do. Especially now that Annie's back, because hey, it gives me a reason to travel across the country. So I'm
That's
okay
right.
with that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I have no issue with that whatsoever. But it's nice to take her outside and to see the excitement of her learning and growing in the outdoors and all that, and then to catch that fish on stuff that she made with skills that she learned from becoming an outdoor woman is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I didn't tell her shit.
No,
Yeah.
I respect myself.
When we went fishing the other day, I did it on purpose. I said, look, I'm going to walk this way, just like we did. One of us ran one side, one down the other.
Yeah.
And I purposely stayed away from her to let her handle what she needed to handle.
Yeah. Let her do her
They
thing.
taught us how to look for logs or rocks, look for shadows, kind of like scan. Like we learn all of that. Like you learn literally how to be proficient at what you're doing.
And to see it pay off and see her catch the fish and hear her squeal and all that, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's really
Who took the fish off the hook?
I did because it was double hooked.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did hold the fish.
Yeah.
I did hold the fish with no glove, like with my bare hand.
So I had to take the fish and unhook it using my forceps. So that's the only reason why, because it was double hooked.
Yeah.
Both of them inside the mouth. He hit it like he wanted it.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. I mean, and you can tell like the excitement that you have, like just talking about it, is like off the charts. So, is there a national website that tracks all of them, or do you have to go like state by state?
So that's what I wanted to somehow give you guys a link. Under University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point has it.
Ben will take care of that.
Oh, okay.
We have a guy for that.
Oh, perfect.
Wisconsin University.
So if you Google "becoming an outdoor woman," University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, it'll show you that site, and then you scroll down and it gives you a listing of all the states that are active, and it'll have the contact information of that person. So it might have a website, it'll have a website information and then their coordinator. So you can call them or email them.
That's
and
awesome.
Then you look it up, and then each states have different time frames. So unfortunately, Maryland, Becoming an Outdoor Maryland bow weekend, they changed it from October to August, and it just doesn't work out time-wise for me because of our vacations to the Outer Banks is the same time. But like New Hampshire is in September, New York is in September, Colorado, I believe, is in July. So I was telling Michael that I wanted to go through the list and just kind of give like what time frames. Georgia's is the first weekend of November. Just so that we know time frame wise what to do. New Hampshire is such a wanted class that literally at 8 a.m. when the registration begins, within 15 minutes, like 75 slots were already booked.
Wow.
And she's sitting there doing her stuff, and she can see the number.
You can see the number of people.
Wow.
Either increase or decrease, but you see what the hell's going on, and you realize how popular this stuff is. Maryland did something last year that I wish they would do more of. They did bow weekend in Maryland was a goose hunting trip.
Oh, that's beyond bow.
That's beyond bow. It's a goose clinic. Yeah, they're all related. So beyond bow, they're the more advanced skills.
It's another skill.
So Maryland did a goose clinic, and it was put on by Schrader's in Millington.
I don't know. We were Kent County.
You were Kent County. So it was put on by them. You stayed at
this manor house was amazing. Oh my gosh, I would love to do it just for a group of people because you can do all kinds of sports, shooting sports there. They had the 5 stands where you can do all the clay shoots and all that. So we practiced that before we went goose hunting. But again, we learned how to goose hunt. We had our goose calls.
That's what I was going to talk about.
So the funny thing is, you're sitting with a group of women. I think there was 15. There was 15 of us. I'm sitting next to a woman, and the guy that's doing so we get goose calls, and she's sending a picture to her husband. I'm sending a picture to Michael during this lecture. And she leans over to me and she says, my husband has a man crush on our instructor. And I was like, so does mine. He knows who he is. He's like really awesome.
I recognize the call. She sent me the call.
Yeah.
Picture of the call. We get a call, and I looked at that and said, yep, I know who the instructor is. I know exactly.
Sean,
man.
Yeah.
I said, if you can get him to sign the call, he's kind of a big deal.
So he heard us giggling and saying that our husbands have his man crush on him. And he said, I'll sign your calls for you. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, he's only a world champion caller. I know 3 world champion callers. He's one of them.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool that we were practicing and learning that piece of it.
Because then
from a world champion caller,
I have to buy a call then so we can practice together.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I was scaring the geese because our pond is over just down the street.
It's 150 yards away. There's a pond with geese in it, 150 yards away.
I don't know if I scared them or if they were just kind of reacting, but there was a reaction of some sort.
She steps out. You can hear him on the pond. She steps out with her man goose call and starts.
And they were
making noise. And they thought there was a ruckus going on Church Street. They weren't fans. Let's put it that way. They got really loud.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Is the Beyond Bow on the Wisconsin site as well?
So the Beyond Bow is under each state's Become an Outdoor Woman, and then they'll list what Beyond Bow they have.
Okay.
All
right. I haven't told Rachel because she's at work and we're just not talking about it. I say we're just not talking about this. We talked about it a couple episodes ago, and I think I mentioned it to her, but I think she would absolutely love this.
She will love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of women going to New Hampshire next year just because it's such a pretty time of year and it's an easier time of year. But again, I have a couple of friends that are teachers and they're like, what classes can we do in the summer? I know there's one in July. I think it's Colorado. So either way, I wanted to verify that so we can know what kinds of times a year would be helpful for people's schedules.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second.
See, Ben's doing that multitasking shit now. He's doing a couple things. The Becoming an Outdoor Woman I think it's a fantastic program. They have experts in certain fields teaching things, but you also have women who have done it teaching things. And anytime that you can get people out of their comfort zones, and people go because they enjoy the outdoors, but some people have no idea. If you get them in outside of their comfort zone, teach them something new, all you're doing is increasing the desire to be in the outdoors, which is only going to benefit wildlife and the environment, I guess is a good way to put it, more and more, because people learn to be stewards of the land, that sort of thing. Take care of.
You're just more engaged. And again, bird watching is like a hierarchy of skills. Is you watching. Like that's not like the cool class. But in bird watching, we all hear birds. And now I know in the morning you hear them singing. And that means like the male birds are saying, yoo-hoo, this is all my space here. And at night, if you pay attention, they're more chirpy than singing. And chirping is kind of saying, yoo-hoo, I'm over here. Come nest with me over here. And so it's kind of cool now to even know how to observe nature that you already knew was happening around you, but not what's actually going on. And again, then using binoculars. I never knew how to set my binoculars correctly. I just used whatever Michael had already had it set for him. And now I know how to set it for me. So like there are all these levels of skills that you can apply to your everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all the dudes who are thinking about having their lady do this shit, I'm just going to tell you that when you get back, you got to buy more shit.
Oh, so this is a fun one in North Carolina. I was in, it was an advanced shooting one, and it was doing the 5 stations, the trap shooting. Is it trap or skeet?
Yeah.
Trap. And they're handing out shotguns, and the one was a 12 gauge. And I said, oh no, I don't want 12 gauge. I need my shoulder to work on come Monday morning. And he's like, but it's a Benelli. And I'm like, really? I've heard about this gun. So I was shooting with it, and I just couldn't use it the whole time. I had to let other women shoot it. And a couple of other women were like, my husband keeps talking about this gun. This gun is really, really expensive. So like we all were shooting with this gun, and we told the instructor, you have just made a $200 weekend class, a $2,500 weekend class, because now we all want this gun. So I come home and I'm like, honey, I love the Benelli. He's like, I bet you did.
Yep. So wasn't one of the women you were with, wasn't her husband a pro for Benelli or something?
Yes, in the rifle.
Yeah.
In the rifle class.
Hate him too, damn it.
She kept having a Benelli stuff on, and she's like, oh yeah, my husband like shoots for them. And I'm like, oh, interesting. So you just meet like the coolest people. Another thing what I really love, and this is kind of a subtle thing, is that when you introduce yourself, so it's say Jennifer Hickman from Eastern Shore of Maryland, I'm interested in learning this class because I want to learn whatever skill. You introduce yourself by interest, like a skill. I had no idea what these women did for careers. Like we never talked about our job. Like our identity wasn't tied up in our career. Our identity for the weekend with these women was all about what our interests were. And I don't know, there was something really freeing about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not your typical identity. It's something different, something, and it's something that you're all sharing. So you have, like you're talking about stuff outside of the norm that you're also interested in. Like we love our jobs, but if I don't have to talk about my job today, I get to talk about like this kind of stuff. Like that's just as fun. That's more fun,
It's a lot of fun to it. Yeah. It was just a lot of fun.
And it puts everybody on equal ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're like there's skills that are new for everybody.
We're all learning. Like it's like we're all learning together. It just created a togetherness that is a kind of a subtle thing, but it's huge, really. I guess it just helps for bonding, in a bonding kind of way.
Oh yeah.
So another cool thing is I did hiking this last time, and you can say, well, you've gone hiking before. I had hiking boots, but we learned how to hike with walking sticks because they had access to gear, and walking with hiking sticks was a game changer. Like it was really easy. And so again, you don't know what you don't know until you have the gear to practice using it with. The other thing is on the bottom of my shoe had this yellow sign name thing, and it just meant that my sole of my shoe was very sturdy. And so they were showing me how to use my own shoe going down the hill, how to like make it as a step and step down versus like kind of sliding down. So, I mean, there was just all these like cool pieces of information that you learn all the time. So I don't know. I think we all should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I pulled up the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point.
Yes.
And I have to, I think it's because I have it on like half the screen. The website's a little funky.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
There are 38 states and 6 Canadian provinces that offer these workshops.
Yes.
And on the map, or on the states and provinces highlighted with color in the maps, offer one or more bow events per year. Visit the homepage link for a complete list of locations and corresponding contact information. So we're going to put that in the link, and then we'll also link to at least the Wisconsin-Stevens Point social media when the show goes. The show will come out, and I think this is the beginning of November. But this is absolutely awesome. Like I'm gonna try and figure out like when we could get Rachel to go to one, because I think she would love it. She loves camping, being outdoors, all that kind of stuff. And I'd be kind of interested to talk with like the Assateague State Park for like a surf fishing. There's definitely people and resources that we have to make that a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's, again, something like I don't know how to surf fish. I do. I mean, for me, the idea is like, it's like fishing in a pond, but now I'm in the surf. I used everything a little bit bigger and I just chucked that way the hell out there, but I don't know what I'm doing, so that would be, it'd be interesting to see like how that program develops, and to maybe get something here local. And then not only can you be the person that goes to the most in many different states, but you could also be the person to start one. How fun would that be?
That would be really cool, because we do have access. We do actually have access to people we know at Department of Natural Resources. So it's been coordinating with the coordinator. I think her name is Katrina from Maryland, to coordinate how to have that set up, because I think that's a great idea. I think the more we can learn, the better we all are. And the more we can do fun things, well, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of my friends, we all do stuff outside, and just to know more things is very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a confidence thing. So like you do it and you have this confidence in what you're doing. And it's like, when you have that confidence, you enjoy it more too. And it's a safety thing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
If you're going to go out and go hiking, camping, hunting, fishing, whatever you're going to do, you now have this expanded set of skills and knowledge that I saw some girl, and I don't mean to pick on anybody at one of these events, but I saw somebody and they stopped her because this was about to happen, or, we've all heard stories of something happening to somebody because they didn't know. So, yeah.
So that was the fishing class I just did. I was having the line further in on my finger, and so it kept hooking to the left. And so the instructor was watching me, and she said, just have it on the edge, right there on the edge. And then it went exactly where it's supposed to go. And it was just like that little bit of a skill, a little bit of a shift made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting back to safety, part of what they do, and I'll use the kayak class, for example.
Yes.
They taught you about dry bags.
Oh, yeah.
Your 10 items, a whole bunch of different little things that you wouldn't think about in your daily life, but all of a sudden you go take one of these classes. If you're going to go in the water, you need to have these 10 essential items, a dry bag, this sort of thing, in case your little river trip turns into a survival situation.
Right.
Things that I wouldn't think about. I take my little ammo can, throw it in the boat, and I got what I think I need. But these are people who, with practical experience, teaching women how to do it and how to feel. And since her first one, every time Jennifer hunts, she carries a backpack, and that backpack has things like chapstick, because you don't think about it, but when you're in a situation, your lips getting dry isn't comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then your mind starts to go, and then you may panic because your lips are dry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's just a little example of what they kind of instill. Chapstick use it for your lips. You also use it as a fire starter.
Yeah.
So it's
Mhm.
they teach you that kind of thing,
Mhm.
which you're not going to
Yeah.
pick up watching Family Guy.
No, and like that those 10 items in that dry bag that you take on your trip, like if something happens while you're on your way to your trip, like you haven't even gotten there, and whatever happens, like that just makes you more prepared. Like if you're going to drive from here to Georgia.
Yep.
And like that's an easy bag that you can throw in there. It's like you always know the same stuff's in there. You're like, oh, we're going on a trip. We're gonna throw this in there, and off we go. So it's like great skills, great information that they're passing along. That it's a wonderful program.
And I had to buy a bunch of dry bags. I'm not mad at it.
Every time I come back, there's always like a new wish list.
Dry bags, fly tying stuff, fishing stuff.
But binoculars, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. It's
so awesome. And we're going to wrap it up on this because Jennifer has to get to work. But they have banquets during these things, and it's
raffles.
Or raffles, yeah.
Our raffle night.
And it's
a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser. That's how they get their money.
Yeah.
Well, somebody has a particular set of skills, and those skills are winning fucking raffles. So we do, Captain Zach back here, we're doing some fly fishing stuff. We're learning. She said, I'm going to do this fly fishing class. All right, no problem.
Yeah.
So she wins all the fly fishing tying stuff and equipment and all kinds of stuff. The biggest prize
was this one. And this year I won a fishing trip for 2 in New Hampshire.
Yeah. So
he gets to go to New Hampshire now.
Yeah.
And go fly fishing in New Hampshire.
And go fly fishing.
So you see, it's just a bonus.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, that's awesome. So we're going to wrap this up. Miss Jennifer, thank you for coming on. It's great to see you, even though it's virtually, but still great to see you.
Absolutely.
And thanks for sharing all of the excitement that you have for this program. Like I said, this is going to go live. I think it's the 4th, so sometime in early November. But we'll post the link to Wisconsin Stevens Point, and then we'll also tag their social media and our social media and all that kind of stuff to try and get this spread around. And yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up hearing from Rachel about going to one. So I'm going to try.
If you have questions about it, you can reach out to Jennifer on her social media, which is That's So Easy, SEW, on Instagram, and shoot her a message, and she'll be more than happy to guide you along the way.
Yep. Or if something doesn't go through there, or you send her a message, she doesn't see it, send us one, and we'll get it to her as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So yeah. Like I said, I'm going to try and get Rachel to go to one, or see if she's interested, and then she'll go have a blast, and I'll stay home and cry all weekend with both kids, trying to figure out like how to stay alive.
Delaware is Trap Pond, by the way, so it's close also.
Yeah, Delaware is close.
I'm going to write that down.
Yep, do that.
And that's in the first weekend of October.
Oh, we just missed it.
Just missed it.
That's all right. That means next year Lincoln will be a little older, so I won't cry as much.
Right.
So that's going to wrap this show up. Thank you again for joining us. Thanks for watching. We hope you're enjoying the show. Be on the lookout for the links, all the social media stuff for this, because we're going to try and share this and make this a little bit bigger. And yeah, enjoy it. We'll see you next time.